Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch Want, and thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Bell&Ross BR-X1. You can see this Bell&Ross limited edition of 250 pieces from 2015 on our website, watchyouwant.com. Purchase it there if you like. And if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now you can see on my wrist 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, the BR-X1 in titanium, forged carbon, rubber, aluminum, and ceramic. Has an imposing stance. Now it's 15 millimeters thick, which is about par for this class of sports watch, and it's 45 millimeters across the broad of the case, basically the base of the crown to the opposite of the 9 o'clock flank. 53 millimeters from extremity of lug to extremity of lug. It really wears as a modern take on the classic cushion case, more or less as wide as it is tall. It's an easy watch to wear from an ergonomic standpoint, both because the dimensions in an absolute sense are quite compact, and you can really see that from this vantage point, but also because the combination of titanium, ceramic, and carbon is very light on the wrist. Now I'll also add that the strap, which is of extraordinary quality, very flexible natural vulcanized rubber, pulls down with ease. So if you really do want to nail the curvature of a tight wrist, this watch is head of the class. The strap is also exceptionally broad. Many watches simply don't feature straps that are a good match for the width of their case, and oversized sports watches are the worst offenders. Here, though, we have a strap that keeps the watch nicely planted from side to side, so it doesn't have a tendency to torque and pivot on the wrist. Moreover, it's an aesthetic win, because you can see how the curvature of the strap actually traces the outermost flank of the lug, creating a very integrated look, and despite the fact that these are not conforming end pieces, they do close the flank at the end of the strap, so there's very little daylight showing between the end of the strap and the flank of the case. Aesthetically very well done. Now from an ergonomic standpoint, Bell&Ross continues to rack up kills. You can see how the channeling on the bottom of the strap allows moisture, grit, water, sweat to escape underneath when you're wearing this watch during periods of activity. With a screw-down crown, the watch does feature an impressive 100-meter water resistance, so while aviation is Bell&Ross's thing, this watch is not afraid to get wet and wild. And you can see a beautiful and beautifully contoured pin buckle makes adjustments easy on the fly for those active periods when your wrist might expand. Now, the case itself represents a significant upgrade and really a sea change that reboots the Bell&Ross imagery. Now we know in 2005 Bell&Ross changed the game with the first modern take, the first complete departure from the Rolex image of the sports utility watch. We've seen so many clones of the Rolex GMTs, Submariners, Daytonas over the years that became the default sports watch look. Well, Bell&Ross completely rebooted the system with the 2005 instrument. Based on analog flight gauges from the flight deck of 20th century aircraft, the original instrument series was an absolute revolution, and it really built Bell&Ross into a name and an identity separate from, well, quite frankly, the sin-built watches that they'd marketed before. Instrument became Bell&Ross, and the BR-X1 advances the breed. What you're seeing here is a watch that doesn't pay homage to aviation so much in its imagery. It doesn't look like an instrument. What it does is it adopts the material norms of modern aviation, featuring forged carbon fiber. You can see the material, which is first compacted in a mold and then cured at over 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Because the unique strands of forged carbon never fall the same way twice, each one of the 250 pieces in this limited series is effectively an aesthetic piece unique. Now, ceramic has been incorporated as well on the flanks of the case, as has grade 5 PVD titanium, so this watch contains almost all of the elements of modern aviation fabrication. For good measure, traditional aviation aluminum is present in the minute subregister for the chronograph. That cutout wheel-style subregister disc at 9 o'clock is actually made of aluminum. Add the rubber, and it's a virtual array of modern aviation materials in a single timepiece. So whereas the instrument was all about the look of a flight deck instrument, this is all about the construction and composition of a modern aircraft. This is your Boeing Dreamliner for the wrist. Now you can also see unique skeletonization of the Bell&Ross caliber BR-313. It's easily visible beneath the smoked sapphire dial, and the dial has tremendous depth. First and foremost, if you look at the tachometer scale, you can see how it swoops down from the bezel itself and then becomes sort of a flat plane splaying inboard with these gorgeous fully loomed and polished applied indices. And then you can see how the hands and the subregisters seem to float atop that base movement and its skeletonized components. Now, the movement is showcased on the front of this watch because the case back reveals only the periodic passing of the rotor as well as the escapement itself beating away at 4 Hz or 28,800 vibrations per hour. The watch does feature smooth chronograph action as well when I pull the crown out as hacking seconds. So you'll see the second subregister and its minimalist calibrations at 3 o'clock, and you can see how the seconds hand does stop when I hack the movement. Now for convenient resetting, should the watch run down, you do have a quick set function, which you can see cycling at 6 o'clock, and you can see the sapphire disc featuring the numerals just beneath the smoked sapphire of the dial base. This is a fantastic watch that moves the needle, even for Bell&Ross. If the question is, how do you follow up the instrument series with the look of a cockpit instrument? You follow it up with the look of an aircraft frame. This is a machine for the wrist. It's an aviation homage in carbon, titanium, aluminum, and ceramic. You can see it and you can fly it home on our website, watchyouwant.com.